Imagine lying in bed at 2 a.m., staring at the ceiling while your mind races through endless scenarios. You replay conversations from yesterday, worry about meetings tomorrow, and analyze decisions you made years ago. Your brain just won't stop thinking. Why do we torture ourselves with these repetitive thoughts? The answer lies deep within your neuroscience, and it might completely change how you view your own mind.
Welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving into one of the most frustrating experiences almost everyone faces: overthinking. We'll uncover the hidden science behind why your brain seems to have a mind of its own, why certain thoughts get stuck on an endless loop, and most importantly, what you can actually do about it. By the end of this video, you'll understand the biological mechanisms driving your overthinking and have practical tools to take back control.
Let's start with a simple question. Have you ever found yourself thinking about an embarrassing moment from 5 years ago? Maybe you said something awkward at a party, and even though nobody else remembers it, your brain keeps bringing it back like it happened yesterday. Or perhaps you constantly worry about tomorrow. What if the presentation goes wrong? What if they don't like my ideas? What if I fail? This isn't just occasional worry. For chronic overthinkers, it's a daily battle. Your mind becomes a prison of what-ifs and if-onlys. You analyze every text message before sending it, replay social interactions to detect hidden meanings, and spend hours preparing for situations that may never happen. The exhausting part? You know it's irrational. You know you should just stop thinking about it, but somehow you can't. The thoughts keep coming back stronger each time. This pattern isn't a personality flaw or a sign of weakness. It's your brain doing exactly what it was designed to do, but in a way that doesn't serve modern life. To understand why, we need to look at what's happening inside your skull. First, let's talk about something called the Default Mode Network, or DMN. This is a network of interconnected brain regions that becomes active when you're not focused on the outside world. Whenever you're daydreaming, remembering the past, or thinking about the future, your DMN lights up like a Christmas tree. Scientists discovered this network accidentally while studying brain scans. They noticed that certain areas of the brain became more active when people weren't doing anything specific. This network includes the medial prefrontal cortex and the posterior cingulate cortex, regions responsible for self-referential thinking and mental simulation. Here's where it gets interesting. The DMN is essentially your brain's autopilot mode. When you're not engaged in a demanding task, your brain defaults to analyzing your life, reviewing past experiences, and planning for potential futures. This was incredibly useful for our ancestors who needed to learn from past mistakes and prepare for future threats. But in modern life, this same system can spiral into destructive overthinking. For chronic overthinkers, the DMN doesn't just turn on during idle moments, it becomes hyperactive. Research shows that people with anxiety and depression have an overactive DMN that won't turn off even when they try to focus on something else. Your brain essentially gets stuck in analysis mode, replaying the same scenarios over and over, searching for problems that might not even exist. Cortisol and stress hormones. Now, let's examine the chemical side of overthinking. When you worry or stress about something, your body releases cortisol, often called the stress hormone. Cortisol is part of your survival system. It sharpens your focus and prepares your body to handle threats. But here's the problem. Your brain can't distinguish between a real threat, like a predator, and an imagined threat, like embarrassing yourself in a meeting. Every time you overthink, you trigger a cortisol release. This creates a vicious cycle. High cortisol levels actually impair the hippocampus, the brain region responsible for memory and learning, while simultaneously strengthening the amygdala, your brain's fear center. This means overthinking literally rewires your brain to be better at worrying and worse at rational thinking.
The more you overthink, the more cortisol you produce. The more cortisol you produce, the more your brain becomes primed to detect threats and problems. You become hypersensitive to potential dangers, seeing catastrophe in minor setbacks. A simple "we need to talk" text becomes a relationship-ending crisis in your mind. A small mistake at work becomes evidence that you're about to be fired. The fight or flight response. Finally, there's the ancient fight or flight system. This survival mechanism evolved to help our ancestors escape immediate physical dangers. When faced with a threat, your sympathetic nervous system floods your body with adrenaline, increases your heart rate, and sharpens your senses. The problem is that this system activates during psychological stress too. When you're overthinking about a job interview, a difficult conversation, or a social situation, your body responds as if you're facing a life-threatening danger. Your heart races, your palms sweat, and your mind becomes hypervigilant, scanning for every possible thing that could go wrong. This creates what psychologists call catastrophic thinking. Your brain, in full threat detection mode, starts imagining worst-case scenarios, not because they're likely, but because your survival system is designed to prepare you for the worst. In prehistoric times, it was better to assume the rustling bush was a predator rather than the wind. Today, that same system makes you assume your boss's neutral expression means you're getting fired.
So how do we break this cycle? Here are 3 evidence-based techniques that actually work. Solution 1. Brain dump journaling. When thoughts are swirling in your head, they have unlimited power because they're abstract and endless. Writing them down forces them into concrete language, and suddenly they become manageable. Spend 10 minutes every evening doing a brain dump. Write down everything you're worried about, every repetitive thought, every concern, no matter how trivial. This technique works because it externalizes your thoughts. Once they're on paper, your brain recognizes it doesn't need to keep rehearsing them to remember. Studies show that expressive writing reduces activity in the amygdala and increases activity in prefrontal regions associated with emotional regulation. You're literally shifting your brain from panic mode to processing mode. Solution 2. The 4-7-8 breathing technique. When overthinking triggers your stress response, you need to manually activate your parasympathetic nervous system, your body's relaxation system. The 4-7-8 breathing technique is remarkably effective. Breathe in through your nose for 4 counts, hold for 7 counts, then exhale completely through your mouth for 8 counts. This pattern forces your body into a relaxed state. The extended exhale activates the vagus nerve, which tells your brain that you're safe. Just 3 to 4 cycles can significantly reduce cortisol levels and quiet an overactive mind. It sounds simple, almost too simple, but the neuroscience backs it up completely. Solution 3. The task switching method. Remember how the DMN activates when you're not engaged in focused activity? The solution is strategic engagement. When you catch yourself overthinking, immediately switch to a task that requires genuine concentration. Solve a puzzle, play an instrument, do a workout, or engage in a creative activity.
The key is that the task must demand enough attention that your DMN can't stay active. Watching TV usually doesn't work because your mind can still wander. But activities requiring active problem-solving or physical coordination force your brain to shift gears. You're essentially interrupting the overthinking loop by giving your brain something concrete to process. So the next time you find yourself trapped in a spiral of overthinking at 2 a.m., remember this. It's not a character flaw, it's not weakness, and you're not broken. Your brain is simply doing what millions of years of evolution designed it to do. It's just doing it in an environment it wasn't designed for. Understanding the science gives you power. You now know about the default mode network that won't shut off, the cortisol cycles that trap you in worry, and the ancient survival systems that misfire in modern life. More importantly, you have practical tools to intervene. Your thoughts don't control you. You control them.
If you found this video helpful, hit that like button, subscribe for more psychology and neuroscience breakdowns, and turn on notifications so you never miss our next deep dive into the hidden workings of your mind. Thanks for watching, and remember, your brain is powerful, but you're in charge.